Honorable Lito Atienza is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Salamat po, Mr. Majority Floor Leader. This representation would like to manifest our own impressions and as a reaction to all the messages delivered this afternoon here in Congress by our colleagues in their continuing concern of what's going on in many parts of the country hit by one of the strongest typhoons that ever hit us. Galang-galang na Speaker, ang inyong lingkod ay nananawagan sa lahat. Tayo po'y magtulungan, tayo po gumawa ng aksyon, at tayo'y humanap ng paraan upang ang ating problema ay matagunan. Huwag natin sisihin ang industriya, sisihin natin ang mga nagsasamantala. Huwag nating murahin ang panahon sapagkat andyan na yan at darating pa marami. According to the studies of the scientists of the world, there are 10 nations that are targeted for serious devastation and calamitous situation caused by climate change. Are we doing something about it? When they defined the 10 nations, the Philippines came out number 2 among the nations that is definitely going to suffer the consequences of climate change, global warming, and severe weather conditions as a result. Are we prepared for this? Are we accepting the reality that the Philippines is scheduled to have more and more sufferings? What we have seen in the past 2 weeks is just a small element compared to what could happen to the Philippines if the projections of those who have studied global warming causing the rise of seawaters all over the world. Ang sabi nila, mga bansang katulad natin ay daranas ng pagtaas ng karagatan hanggang 20 metro sa darating na mga 15-20 taon. Ito po hindi na magbabago itong calculation na ito sapagkat ito'y ginawa ng mga dalubhasa at binigyan na tayo ng sapat na babala. Ano po ang ginagawa natin? Tatalumpati tayo. Nagsisisihan tayo. We would rather point to the industry rather than those criminals who allow the violation of our laws. I don't see any law that says or allows serious violation of our nature and our natural wealth. I don't see any law that allows the plundering. As they use the word plunder, I'd like to use the word plunder. Ang nagpa-plunder po ba yung panahon o yung mga kriminal na nagsasamantala sa yaman ng ating bansa? So today, I would like to clarify certain matters. One, we have to accept the challenge of preparing for these calamities every year. Hindi na po magbabago yan. Every year, ang bagyo dumadaan galing po dito sa eastern side ng Pacific Ocean papunta dito sa western side, tatamaan ng Pilipinas. Kung mapalad tayo, ang bagyo'y tumataas, pumupunta ng Japan. Sa kabila po naman, on the western side, pumupunta sa bandang bahagi ng Luzon, at tatamaan din po yung mga probinsyang sinasabing tatamaan. Ito po'y hindi gawa-gawang hula o haka-haka. Ito po'y pinag-aralan ng siyensya, pinag-aralan ng mga eksperto, at sila nagsasabing ang Pilipinas ay magdurusa sapagkat hindi natin inaasikaso ang tunay na problema. Kung saan-saan tayo nagpupunta, we use our emotions but not our common sense. The mitigation of the problem is necessary. Adaptation of the nation must be done. And this can be done today, not tomorrow. We have failed to do it yesterday, but we should not fail to do it today. Kailangan gawin na natin ang tama, payagan ang industriya upang ekonomiya naman ay makinabang ating kalikasan. It is not correct that the solution is to ban mining. It is not the mining that destroys the environment. It is the violation of the mining law that creates the problem. Hindi ko po matiis na hindi tumayo rito at magsalita rin upang tumulong naman ako sa kaliwanagan ng isipan ng ating mga membro. Let us not be stampeded into the wrong direction. Let us all go towards the right solution to the problems of the nation. Climate change is given. Global warming is defined. The solutions are in our hands. Wanton throwing of garbage is one of the main reasons for global warming. Yung basura ng ating bansa hanggang ngayon, nagkalat pa po sa maraming bahagi. Ang ating mga solusyon ay hindi maaabot ng mga gobyerno lokal. Kulang sa salapi. Kailangan po ng tulong upang sila'y makabuo ng katanggap-tanggap at tamang paraan ng waste disposal system. Pero kung hindi po natin tutulungan ng mga gobernador at mga mayor, tuloy po ang pagtatapon ng basura in what they call as controlled waste disposal facility, but in reality it's just merely open dumping in another sense. For as long as we throw garbage on the floor, for the elements to take over, and for the pollution contributed by these materials, we will not be able to solve or even make a dent on the solution of the problem. When the United Nations declared that we should all help one nation, one after the other, in addressing the problem of climate change, we signed and we were part of that agreement. But up to now, we don't seem to be doing our homework. We only react when there is already a calamitous event, making our people suffer even more. You open your television set, you hear the voice and the cries of our people. We are now dying here on the roof of our homes. What can we do about it? Ang sinisisi ng lahat, ang sinisisi ng marami, ang Pangulo ng bansa, hindi makakahanap ng solusyon ang Pangulo sapagkat hindi naman siya Superman eh. Hindi nga siya si Captain Marvel. Tao lang siya. But the solution has already been given us. We should clean up our pollution, number one. Number two, we should adapt ourselves and prepare that all of these calamities will happen to the Philippine Islands and no one can prevent it. Noong kami po yung namamahala ng Department of Environment, kami po nagtulungan. Humingi kami ng tulong sa mga eksperto. Gumawa kami ng tinatawag na geohazard map. It is a map that defines the whole nation, the whole archipelago, every province, every municipality, every barangay is given a clear picture of what can happen to their own communities unless they prepare for it. Landslides continue to happen. Landslides can be prevented, or the damage of landslides can be prevented, and the loss of lives can be prevented if we educate our people about what has to be done. But what happened to the geohazard map? What happened to the book that we labored on with the help of the expert scientists of the Philippines and that of the world? I understand the administration that followed the administration of President Arroyo threw it in the wastebasket. Because sabi niya, wala raw silbi yan. Walang silbi. Sinasabi na po ng ating mga nagsusuri ng ating panahon, ang bagyo dadaan sa bandang Kabikulan. Hindi na po may iwasan yan. Paminsan-minsan bumababa ng Kabisayaan, pero ang karamihan ng bagyo, tatama sa Aurora, sa Quezon, sa Polillo Island, at sa maraming bahagi ng Bicol. There is no changing what has already been established by science. But we do not want to do whatever President has already accomplished because we do not want to share the credit. That is the problem that we have. And we should correct it, Mr. Speaker. Otherwise, we are doomed to suffer the consequences of our stupidity. I would like to call it simply stupidity on the part of some people in government who would not follow what has already been studied, analyzed, and concluded. Ang geohazard map ay isa sa mga dokumento na magbibigay sa atin ng landas sa kaligtasan. Pero wala pong nakakaalam sapagkat itinago ng 6 na taon administrasyong nakaraan. So I urge the present government to do what is necessary. Make the geohazard map part of the educational process of our young today. May pag-asa pa ang bansang Pilipinas kung ang ating kabataan ngayon, rather than blame everybody, they should be taught and oriented to the solutions that are already in our hands. Hindi po yung magtalumpati tayo rito sa Kongreso, murahin natin lahat sila at sa kanilang pagkukulang. Ang pagkukulang na sa atin sapagkat tayo ngayon ang namamahala ng gobyerno. We who have been elected as members of this Congress, the 18th Congress of the Philippines, we should take the responsibility of seeing to it that our nation is on the right direction. And no one will be able to change that. Ating pong bansa ay puspos ng yaman, kalikasan. We have all the minerals that are necessary to make our people wealthy and well-off economically. So why should we deprive our present generation to share in the wealth of our natural resources? Hindi po solusyon ang itigil ang minahan. Yung po isang aksyon na para bagang sinasawalang bahala natin ang ginto na nakakalat sa ating kapuluan. We have to utilize our natural minerals for the benefit of our people. Hindi dapat naghihirap ang Pilipino kung tama ang paggamit at pagpapatupad ng batas. We have all the laws to protect our natural wealth. But the problem is, we would rather engage in the development of white sand beaches rather than attend to the natural advantage of minerals in the country. We would rather ban mining. Itigil na minahan. Madaling sabihin yan. Bakit mo ititigil yung pag-produce ng langis sa Middle East? Kung pinakikinabangan ng mga Middle Eastern mga Saudi yan. Bakit mo ititigil ang pagmimina sa Pilipinas kung ito'y pinakikinabangan ng mga mahihirap nating kapwa Pilipino? Ang kailangan po'y ipatupad ang layunin ng batas. Ang kailangan po'y tulungan natin kung may nakikita tayong pag-aabuso at ipakulong ang dapat ipakulong at hindi po sisihin yung industriya. We do not agree with the notion that banning mining, especially large-scale mining, is the genuine solution. Ang mas malaking problema po ng Pilipinas ngayon, yung mga small mining activities. Libo-libo po yan. Sila bumubungkal ng ating kagubatan, ng ating kabundukan na walang lisensya. Wala man lang permiso. Wala man lamang environmental study. Wala man lamang ibinabayad sa mga indigenous people. Wala man lamang nakikinabang kung hindi yung bumubungkal ng lupa na malamang malakas sa local government sa lugar na yun. I'm appealing to all, therefore. We should be sober as we should be deliberate. Kailangan tignan natin ang problema without being emotional nor ideologically influenced. I am not influenced by any ideology except the ideology of seeing our people benefit from what we have from God Almighty. Bigyan tayo ng bansang puspos ng kalikasan at yaman. Ating bulubundukon araw ay merong 14 na milyong hektaryang gubat. Punong kahoy. Meron tayong nara, meron tayong kamagong, meron tayong yakal. Ako po'y kumuha ng arkitektura. Aming pag-aaral, hindi ka maaaring gumawa ng plano na hindi ka gagamit ng mga material na yan. Yakal in particular. Because yakal was available everywhere. It was available to anybody who would like to build a home sturdy enough to use yakal. But today, you cannot find yakal anymore. Japan na po yan. Amerika na po yan. Nasa Europa na. Once upon a time, we were protected by all mangroves the world can hope for. Protected from storm surges, protected from tidal waves, protected from the anger of nature. What did we do with our mangroves? We sold it. Foreigners. Wala na rin pong mangrove ngayon. The 100% areas of mangrove in the nation's islands, wala pa pong 5% ang meron pang natitirang mangrove. Manila Bay nung araw, punong-puno ng mangrove. Protection yan, laban sa mga storm surges. Today, we have no more mangrove because, again, the criminals took advantage of some political figures to gain from our natural wealth and for themselves only, but not benefiting the ordinary Filipino. So ngayon, may pagkakataon tayo, mga minamahal kong mga kongresista, uisip tayo ng mga batas na magpipilit, ipatupad, katulad ng pagtuturo ng biohazard map, appreciation, and understanding. Kung maaari ituro po sa lahat ng mga kabataang binanggit ni Congresswoman Elago. Turuan natin ng mga kabataan ngayon paano tanggapin ang katotohanan. May mga pulo ang Pilipinas na hindi makakaiwas na sa epekto ng climate change. Turuan natin ang lahat na bumuo na ng mga sanitary landfills upang ang ating kapuluan ay maalisan ng basura na siyang isa sa mga sanhi ng kataas ng temperatura ng karagatan. Pollution is still the number one problem. And definitely, not the motor vehicles, not even the poor man's vehicle. Ang problema po ay hindi natin pinatutupad ang dapat alam ng lahat. If all the children today will be taught, wherever they are, what can be expected from nature today and in the future, they would take the necessary steps to defend themselves. But if we will just rely on what we see, and we stand up here, and we do not do anything, we will continue to experience the sadistic and miserable life of hearing on television, live television, where our people are saying, praying to the high heavens, Lord, save us. Wala na po kami matakbuhan. Hindi kaya ng Pangulo ang bigyan ng solusyon. Ang solusyon nasa kamay ng bawat lingkod bayan, whether you are a councilor in the municipality, a councilor in the city, a mayor, a vice mayor, a governor, and us, members of Congress, we can do something about it. And together, let's try to work on that particular time and moment for the Filipino will be given his just due. We have not been created to be the basket case of Asia, but the poor man of the world. We were created to be the models of the world in our way of life, in our character, and even in our looks. Wala pong pangit na Pilipino. Palad tayo, ang ating mga kongresista. Pinakamagagandang kongresista sa buong mundo. Matalino. Kaya lang, kung hindi natin gagamitin ang ibinigay sa ating pagkakataong, tayo ang gumagawa ngayon ng alituntunin na dapat sundin ng lahat sa ating bansa. Sayang ang panahon. Sayang ang pagkakataon. Therefore, I'd like to remind every member of Congress today, the 18th Congress of the Philippines, can do something about the growing problem, which has already been analyzed, studied, and given a solution. But up to now, no one dares, no one even cares about it, because it's easier to complain, it's easier to blame, it's more difficult to act. Climate change is the number one problem, and we should solve that today, not tomorrow. Dear colleagues, and I hope all the measures pending in the committees regarding climate change will be given due course. Land conversion ang ating tinitingnan. Yung climate change mitigation and climate change adaptation measures should be given priority by this Congress. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. And I hope